Folks, when I see so many people in schools in the uniform, not school uniform, but otherwise, it does remind me of my own school. I was the backbencher troubling the front benchers. Do you still recall the guy troublemakers at the back with that rubber band and hitting hard the people in the front? Well, I was that guy doing all that, and so I was really not good in my academics. Folks, in my 8th grade, I'm not recommending for you people, but in my 8th grade, out of 6 or 7 subjects, I failed in all except one. So my principal called me and said, Shiv, you're paying too much attention on one subject. And out of 28 kids, I was number 27 because the 28th was absent. Folks, are you with me? No kidding. This was really my school days, and eventually I managed to go to the 9th. And then, if you people recall those days, boys were supposed to take science and the girls were supposed to take arts. And my brother was doing his science BSc, and when time came for the selection of it was higher secondary, by the way, it was not 10+2 those days. So when it came to 9th and you had to make a choice, my mom said to me, your brother has taken science, boys take science, when you grow up, you are men, boys are men, are supposed to take science. So son, she never pushed me, by the way. She said, son, take science. I had a lot of respect for her, but she knew that when I took science and chose, my principal, he got information about it. I passed from modern school. Any Modernites here? Oh, one Modernite. Oh, Modernite, good. Barakamba or Vasant Vihar? Oh, okay, that's all right too. Perfectly fine. So it was Barakamba, and Mr. M.N. Kapoor used to be the principal. Anybody met him ever, Mr. Kapoor? Folks, what a towering personality. He really commanded respect. Even today, he's not here. I don't think most of our students are our age. We just address him as Kapoor or M.N. Kapoor. It is never without his title, Mr. M.N. He's not here to see, but somehow, out of respect, the name doesn't come without the title. Are you with me, folks? It doesn't come without the title. I mean, this is really where we're coming from, and that's really what it matters. In fact, I was invited to a school as a chief guest for the Founders' Day. Huge crowds. I asked a boy, I said, what's your dad's name? He says, Ramlal. I said, is he your servant? You don't know how to address your father? Are you with me? You don't know how to address your dad. What do you mean, Ramlal? Is he a peon? Folks, we have some friends who are very actively involved in Japan, many collaborations and many businesses, and they've been living there for maybe last 10, 20, 30 years. And I am researching a little more on this one right now because I'm writing a book on positive parenting. Positive Parenting is the book that I'm writing, next one. And my publisher from UK, Bloomsbury, they've already given me advance on it, and I'm already late to get my book out. But many times parents come and tell me, and they say, Mr. Khera, talk to my kids, They're messed up, the values are messed up, the discipline is messed up. I said, no. they're not messed up. The parents are messed up. Are you with me? The parents are messed up. And that's the sad part. You know something, folks? Parenting certainly is a lot more difficult today than it was many years ago. That is true, I accept. Yes, no? Okay. That is true. That is true. But you know something? Today's parents are actually scared of their kids. They don't have guts to say no to their kids. I have two grandsons, so I'm seeing them grow. Now one is 15 and they're growing up. And all the mistakes that we made when we were bringing our own two girls, and we make it a point to talk to my daughters so that they don't make the same mistakes going forward, because it's a trial and error business, because there is no perfect parent in this world. Are you with me? Yes, no. There is no perfect parent. Now, interestingly, in a book which I'm redoing now, which is called, the book called Living with Honor. Living with Honor. In there, I have mentioned a story which I read about 30, 40 years ago in U.S. Folks, I've been living in U.S. for the past 47 years, now 48 years, and you know my academics. So I couldn't get a job. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the mines government took over. And since I'm not that educated, we came on the street. Street means street. Now, some families had money, our family did not. My father had died when I was just about finishing college, and we were left with the liability, and the assets were gone. And I was married only 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I know exactly where I went. I went to Meras and South Taxi, evening 6 o'clock, and I sold my mom's jewelry there. Folks, I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Folks, just to be on the safer side, let me see. All of you, pull out your mobile, please. Everybody, pull out your mobile. Everybody get your mobile up, please. Everybody get your mobile up. Okay. Everybody get your mobile up. Now, please switch off, please. Kindly switch off. Kindly switch off. Kindly switch off. Folks, if you came to my office and if I kept fiddling with my mobile, would it be courteous to you people? Yes, no? No. So let's practice courtesy both sides. Okay. Now, I failed in all 3 businesses. I left India and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. We were sleeping on the floor. We had no furniture, rented a small place. And for about 2.5 years, I was washing cars on the street with a bucket in my hand. And just about that time, I saw an ad in the newspaper. You want to make some extra money, do the door-to-door demos for vacuum cleaners. Have you seen those people, folks? Yes, no? So I responded to the ad, and there were a couple of 100 people, and they gave us a pep talk, and they said, go do the demo. And every demo you do, you get paid $5. Folks, I was genuinely naive, bordering stupidity. And I only thought you had to do the demo and not to sell. And every demo you do, you get paid $5. So I used to go to an apartment building, knock a door. When the lady or the man used to open, I used to say, ma'am, you don't have to buy the vacuum cleaner. All that you got to do is take a demo and I'll get paid $5. So some people took pity, let me come in. Some people kicked me out. And some people slammed the door, and that was fine. One day, I was doing a demo in an Indian family's home. And the man and woman were sitting on the sofa, and I was on the floor. So this man, instead of looking at the vacuum cleaner, he kept looking at me all the time. So I asked him, sir, did I do something wrong? He said, no. I said, why do you look at me this way? So he asked me, Shiv, have you ever sold life insurance? I said, wait a minute, man, I'm doing vacuum cleaners here. What kind of a question is this? I said, no, I have never sold life insurance, and I never will. Because I remember back home in India, that agent, that pest, who used to come to my home would not leave my life for 3 hours till I signed the application. I said, I will never be that pest in my life. He said, no, Shiv, it doesn't work that way here. Look at me, I'm a life insurance agent. Look at my lifestyle, I drive a Lincoln. Later on, I came to know he was working for MetLife. And they had a recruitment drive going on. If you recruited a new salesperson, you would get a Samsonite briefcase, so I was there. I said, thank you, but no thank you. I walked out from there. Now, when you cannot go straight, you go the other way around, and somehow his wife became friendly with my wife because we were living in the same building, and she convinced my wife that selling life insurance was the right thing to do. And my wife also knew we couldn't go through life washing cars. We had to do something different. I had a little daughter's support and a family, and she also knew we couldn't go through life washing cars. And she also knew my failure record in life was pretty good. I told her I'm not selling life insurance. She said, Shiv, to sell life insurance, you gotta take an exam. Why don't you take the exam, and if you pass, you have a choice. Right now, you have no. I said, all right, I'll take the exam, but I won't sell. I took the exam. And Sumit, guess what? I passed. Okay. And this guy who started all this thing, he took me off to his office, introduced me to his general manager, who was a very sharp elderly man by the name of Giovanni. As I walked in, he congratulated me, and he says, Shiv, I'll make you an offer, I'll give you time to think. He said, if you become a life insurance agent right now, I'll give you a draw of $150 a week. Well, wow, it was the lowest number anyway. I'll give you $150 a week. And he says, you have time to take a decision. You have 30 seconds. I said, Joe, you said you'll give me time to think. He said, you have 20 left. I said, I'll take it. And now I became a life insurance agent, which I never in my life ever wanted to be. They gave me the book, gave me a little training, and they said, boy, go sell. And folks, for the next 3 months, I went out selling. I put in 100%. Why 100%? 200%. We all can tell when we've done our best. We all can tell when we've not done our best. I can look at the mirror and say, I did my best. And guess what? I broke the company's... Record. Say it loudly. Record. You're not impressed, are you? You are? Okay. Well, I don't get any applause. Well, wait till you find which record I broke, how many sales I made. Almost none. So my manager called me right back. And he said, I've been in this life insurance business 35 years. And he said, I have seen some slow starts in my life. But he said, never seen like you. And he says to me, Don't come back tomorrow, you're fired. I said, wait a minute, Joe, before you fire me, at least hear me out. I'm not that educated. I'm not a doctor, engineer, attorney, accountant. I'm a BCom 30 failed in my test. That's my academics. I said, I got a handicap. How do you expect performance out of me? Folks, I remember 48 years back, standing in his office, and he said to me, you shut up and listen to me. By the way, he didn't say shut up like this. His shut up was very high. Shut up! He said, you shut up and listen to me. Folks, and he said to me, he said, you don't have a handicap, you have a bad attitude. And he said, it is people like you who not only ruin their own lives, but they also ruin their family's life too. And he says, do you know who has a handicap in life? He said, the doctor, engineer, attorney, accountant, they all have handicaps in life. I said, boy, I never heard that one before. How do they have handicaps? He said, go check out all over the world. They all have chosen their field, they're stuck. They all have chosen their field, they're stuck. And he says to me, you haven't chosen your field. Don't you see the world is open to you? He says, you haven't chosen your field. Don't you see the world is open to you? He said, Joe, I never thought from that point of view. He said, now that you're fired, he said, you got all the time to think. He said, leave my office right now. Folks, I left his office about 47, 48 years ago that day. And then that evening, Ashok, that evening I had an appointment about 30 miles away. I had a choice to keep or not to keep because I knew I had no job next day. But I decided to keep that appointment that evening. But interestingly, driving 30 miles, having failed one after the other in my life, that night I was feeling very depressed. Folks, failing one after the other in life is not easy. Are you with me? And out of that depression, I don't know what happened to me. I was alone. I just burst out into crying. I couldn't understand what was going on in my life. I had a family to support. I had a little daughter. I didn't know how to earn a living. I kept praying, kept crying, kept praying. Folks, that night, that 30 miles felt like 30 years. It's a lot easier to talk to him tonight, but it wasn't easy that night. Finally, 7:30, I reached my appointment. I got a handle on myself, went up, started selling. Keep in mind, 7:30 I got in. By the time the man looked at his watch, it was 11:30. I had still not made a sale. And he asked me, sir, do you realize what time it is? It's a polite way of saying, get out. He said, do you realize you have to go to work tomorrow morning? I said, I'm sure you do, sir. It's a polite way of saying, get out now. But somehow I wasn't moving that night. And he knew I wasn't moving. I don't know what got into his mind, but 11:30, he asked me very plain and simple, what does it take to get rid of you right now? I thought he was asking me the rates on the insurance. I opened the book back again and looked at his age, looked at the insurance factor, multiplied with insurance, and I said, sir, That'll be $27.58. He said, what? I said, $27.58. He looked at me disgustingly. He says, why didn't you tell me 5 hours ago? He wrote me a check and he says, take this, get out right now before I change my mind. Folks, that was one of my first sales. And then I came home midnight. Next day I went to my office. I went to my manager and I said, Joe, I got an application today. It's a small one, but it's a bound one with a check, because without a check it has no meaning. And I said, Joe, it is a bound one, small one. And I said, Joe, will you let me stay? I said, if you fire me today, I don't know where to go. And the only place I know where to go is go back to washing cars. And I said, Joe, I don't want to do that anymore. I got a family to support. I have a little daughter. I make one commitment to you. I won't let you down because of my effort. But please let me stay. He looked at me. He says, Shiv, that's not your small one, that's your big one. And two, he said, I'll only let you stay here if you make a commitment, not to me, but to yourself. I'll let you stay. Folks, that day I made a commitment. And that was one of the turning points in my life. Folks, let me ask you, don't we all have some turning points? Yes, no. He would do the papers that day. And that year I went ahead, sold in excess of $1 million. Next year, 3 million. Year after, 5 million. And I moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984. Started with New Jersey operation with no clients. And I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, folks, why do I share my life with you? For a few very important reasons. See, folks, I kept failing all my life and kept blaming the whole world for my failure, not realizing that I was my own biggest problem. Nothing changed outside, something changed inside here, and the direction in my life changed. Folks, let me ask you, many times in life, aren't we our own biggest problem? Yes, no. And the second thing that I learned from him, when he said, you shut up and listen to me, that taught me one thing, Aparajita, that sometimes in life, you got to be unkind to be kind. Are you with me? Sometimes in life, you got to be unkind to be. I've been slapped 3 times by my school teachers. My mom slapped me till age 21, 3 times. So if 3 times I got slapped up to age 21, that is 7 years, each slap 7 years. Well, that's not much. That's not called child abuse. That is not child abuse. Are you with me? And I'm writing my next book on the parenting. Slapping a kid once in a while is not child abuse. Do you know something? I want to clarify something for those so-called people who are so soft-hearted, who tell their kids, son, do what feels good, do what feels good. Have you heard parents talk? Do what feels good, do what feels good, do what feels good. Are you nuts? Folks, I should hear this carefully. Our generation we came through, we learned from parents Feel good is a natural outcome of doing good. You do good, you feel good. How can you feel good when you don't do good? Are you with me? You're silly. When you do bad, you can't feel good. If you are good, you would do good. You do good, you feel good. And have you heard parents saying things like this? Everything within limits is okay. Have you heard that? Let me ask you, tell me, HIV within limits is okay? Adultery within limits is okay? Cheating within limits is okay? Lying within limits is okay? Stealing within limits is okay? Drugs within limits is okay? Some things are not okay! You know, some big parents don't have the bloody guts to say no. Oh, shut up! Let me share with you, we are the no generation. Our kids are the yes generation. You know what it means, the no generation? And by the way, I'm putting this in the book. When we went to our parents and we asked them, can we go to the movies? They said no. Can we go to the restaurant? They said no. And when they said no, Ashok, they meant no. And from eyes you could tell, better not ask again. Can anybody relate to that? Okay. But you know, today's kids, they're yes generation. They go to the parents, can I buy this? Of course. Of course. Can I go to the movie? Oh, yeah. Can I go to the restaurant? Of course. And if perchance in your life you ever said no indignantly, they keep chewing gum like a bloody cow, and they say, why? And you answer the first why, they shoot the second why. You answer the second why, they shoot the third why. You answer the third why, they shoot the fourth why. You answer the fourth why, they shoot the fifth why, sixth why, and seventh why. By the time it is the seventh why, you say go! True? You wonder who's the parent. Which one is the parent? You say go! Folks, why? What do you mean why? Now, when you go to the doctor and they look at your blood profile and they say you got malaria, do you ask why? What do you mean why? He's an educated, qualified MD, MB, BSc, D, PhD, D, because he knows more than you do, that's why! Because he knows more than you do, that's why. So you don't ask why. Why did the sun not come out of the east? I don't know why, but that's the way it is. Now let me ask you one question. Tell me, if we all go through all this, does a 4-year-old have the same maturity of a 40-year-old? Yes, no? No. And sometimes you can explain all the why you want, they still don't understand. Yes, no? So sometimes the most appropriate answer is, shut up because I say so. Enough. You know something, folks? Those who have never learned to obey can never learn to command. Are you with me? I repeat, those who have never learned to obey can never learn to command. Shut up because I say so. Folks, interesting thing is, I want to conclude this story with a message. And the message is, we're the no generation and our kids are the yes generation. And when we went to our parents and said, can I do this? Can I buy this? Can I do this? They said no. And we keep saying yes to our kids. And many times, when we say yes to our kids, we think we are giving them gifts. You know something? They may not be gifts at all. They may be only apologies for gifts that we never gave them. They may be only apologies for gifts that we never gave them. And I just want to conclude this. Even though our parents said no to us, and we keep saying yes to our kids, do you realize that we respected our parents a lot more than our kids respect us? Are you with me? They said no, we keep saying yes. Still, we respected them a lot more than our kids respect us. Folks, remember, parenting is not a popularity contest. I heard one of the speakers, a young boy, said, we need to inculcate the reading habit. And there is a connection between today's readers and tomorrow's leaders. Very well said, I must say that. In my new book, You Can Achieve More. You see, my first book was You Can Win. And the subtitle was, Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Folks, this book, You Can Achieve More. It says live by design, not by default. And the subtitle at the back says, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. If you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. But right as a precursor to this, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. See, many times people say, I want to have an extraordinary life. I want to have extraordinary success. I want to have extraordinary money. And I want to have extraordinary everything. But you see, they don't ask themselves, you got to be something. See, I learned every cloud has a silver lining. Now, till the COVID came about 2.5 years ago, pretty much in US, UK, India, we were doing these physical programs, and all of a sudden, everything died. Died means came to zero. But you know, your expenses, everything, they can't come to. So everything, our revenues came like this. Interestingly, I mean, you got to hear this, but I'm not a techie. Folks, I was learning to do SMS for my grandkids. I didn't know how to do it. In my life, I have never done an email. Hello?
Really? I can believe you, but even my dad was like,
Okay. Now, interestingly, but I did my first webinar April 8th, 2020. First webinar. Because I didn't know how to do the... So I bought one Dell, little one. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to open it. So my grandson was telling me, Nana, do this, do this, do this, do this, okay? And now whenever any client tells me, we want to do a webinar, I tell them, look, don't give me those passwords and those usernames. Give me a link, I click, opens up. You understand? I don't know how to do this. If you can do it, fine. If you can't do it, get some other person. So now, anytime, anywhere from the world, I get it. They say join. That's all I do is join. I don't know how to do it anything else. Now, interestingly, I started doing those webinars. I don't know, my clients got whiff of it. Folks, in the last 24 months, I have done 237 webinars all over the world. And over 3 million people have attended and have gotten paid for it. Pricewaterhouse, Deloitte, all over the world. And we did programs for NHS. Anybody from UK? NHS is the world's largest medical body in the world. And I got a call from NHS. Mr. Khera, these doctors are going through major problems. And they're going through heavy stress. Can you do a program for them? And folks, before doing the program for the NHS doctors, I did a little research on the doctors themselves, and I found that about 40% of these doctors are going through major depression, and 17% have thought of committing suicide. You know why I'm sharing this with you? See, we teach our kids 2 words. We'll succeed, we'll succeed, we'll succeed, and we'll succeed. We don't teach them how to fail and how to lose. Folks, I failed in my 10th grade. I was a backbencher. I was the last guy in my class. I failed enough times in my life. Folks, today we only teach them, we'll succeed, we'll succeed, we'll succeed. You know something? They have never learned to fail. And the moment they have a first failure in life, they get depressed. They're willing to commit suicide. Are you with me? Do you know the IITians? I believe they take 20,000 per year out of what, 20 million? I don't know. The numbers are pretty steep. Only Pilani, you are a Pilani guy? Okay. So they take very small numbers in there out of a few million. So that means they are the cream of the nation. The IQ is very high. And guess who has one of the highest suicide rates? The IITians. You know something? Emotionally, they are bankrupt. And today, go check out, you can Google all these things. 85% of people living all over the world, they may not be academically qualified, but they are very high on emotional strength. They're very high on emotional strength. And you know something, folks? A person who is emotionally weak, you can never trust them. You know why? They're whimsical people. They're moody people. Same person, all sugar and honey to you today, and the same person will catch your throat tomorrow. How can you trust them? How can you trust them? And if you have no trust, where's the relationship? There is no relationship without trust. So we need to teach a lot more than just these 2 words. Look, life always does not go up, 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 up. It is a roller coaster, yes, no. It is a roller coaster. So we need to learn to ride both up and down. If we haven't learned how to face a down in life, man, you cannot get up there. Well, I think we do a 4-day leadership program. I don't think we have time for this today, for a 4-day program, but I think my time is up. Is it pretty much, or?
Our time is not up.
You want me to carry on? Not really. Let me share with you a couple of things quickly, then I'll wind up. And that certainly I feel very strongly as a service to our own society and our country. I think we need to do that. Folks, we have this little title which is Winners Zone, different things. They do things differently. And many times people ask me, what do they do differently? So my answer is, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. I repeat, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. And folks, what are the things losers don't like to do? They're the same things winners don't like to do either, but they do it anyway because they form the habit. See, losers don't like to get up in the morning. Winners don't like to get up in the morning either, but they get up anyway. See, losers don't like to work hard. Winners don't like to work hard either, but they work hard anyway. See, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. And they're the same things. Why am I sharing this with you? Because if we have to do anything well in life, if we have to think to do it, we can never do it right. It must come automatic. It must become reflex action. Folks, I don't care how old we are. Our parents said one thing: form good habits, and habits form characters. Because 90% of our behavior is habitual. We don't think, we just act. And if we have positive habits, we are a positive character. And if we have negative habits, we are a negative character. And good habits are hard to come by, but they're easy to live with. And bad habits come easy, but they're hard to live with. And before we got the habits got us. Are you with me? Before we got the habits got us. Why am I sharing with you this? We have a client with a Swiss collaboration. So I got a call from the CEO, Mr. Khera, can you do some sales training for our people? I said, so give me a couple of days. Let me check your people out first, and then I'll come back to you. So 2 days later, I called the CEO, and I said, sir, your people don't need sales training. I said, they need basic training in courtesy, etiquette, manners, integrity. He said, what? I said, yeah. I said, your people need basic training in courtesy, etiquette, manners, integrity. He said, what does that mean? I said, many of your salespeople have appointments and they're running late. They don't even have the courtesy to call and say, I'm sorry, I'm running. And time to call is when? Before you got late or after you got late? Okay. And then they walk in late. They don't even have the courtesy to say, I'm sorry I kept you waiting. And in case they call, so what do they say on the phone? I'm stuck in traffic. Now, don't get me wrong, traffic has become a real issue all over the world. But many times, they leave their office only 2 minutes before the appointment and they blame it on. They don't have the guts and integrity to say, I'm sorry, sir. I did start late. I apologize. They don't have the bloody guts to say, I'm sorry. I did start late. I apologize. And I find only the first lie is difficult. Second becomes easier. Third becomes easier, fourth becomes easier, fifth becomes easier, and very soon you are dealing with a chronic liar who is a bloody rascal. And tell me, if this is the starting point of a relationship, tell me how long will it last? And interestingly, all this guy does is, only the first lie is difficult, after that becomes a lot easier. Have you heard the statement which says, practice makes perfect? How many believe this statement is totally true? Please raise your hand. Okay, incorrect answer. All of you give the wrong answer. Folks, practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever you practice. Practice only makes permanent whatever you practice. Folks, anybody did martial art in life? How many years? Okay, so you must be green belt somewhere or slightly above. Anybody else? How many years? 2 years. 2 years, okay. Anyway, so as people get the white belt, yellow, orange, purple, brown, and black belt, 5 years later, this martial art guy is doing what? What he learned when he got the white belt. And what is that? Block, punch, block, and punch. They never commit the blow till you commit. And after you commit, the reflexes move so fast, all it takes is one, you're gone. Now, folks, why am I sharing this with you? Because I was involved in martial art for a few years. And I started learning martial art when I was somewhere about 45, 46. And these young kids, teenagers, they used to come and hit hard. And at that time I saw the teacher saying to the kid, no, don't go for speed. Don't learn the right form. Learn the right form. And he said, if you have speed and your form is incorrect, you'll fracture your own hands. Because practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever you practice. So learn the form correct. Go slow. Because that is what will become permanent. I repeat, practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever we practice. Go check out all over the world. Anybody from defense services here? Check out all over the world. In defense services, about 60 to 70% of the career of the defense services people goes into what? Simulation of warfare. What is simulation of warfare? They play war games as if there's a real war going on right now. Why? Because they want to bring into reflex action. Why? Because they realize when there's a real war, if they have to think to fight a war, do you think they can fight a war? Never. When there's a war, at that time, the reflexes move. Are you with me? And keep in mind, folks, experience has shown all over the world tell lies, they also steal. People who tell lies, they also steal. I'll share with you. I was doing a leadership program in Bombay at the Lalit Hotel. This is the Lalit sign. At the Lalit Hotel. And right next to my bed, there was a side table, and on the side table, there was nice digital clock there. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Could be 1, 2, 10, who cares, or 100. It makes no difference. But there was a nice digital clock. Ashok, can you read out? And right next to the clock, there was a big sign hanging next to the clock. Sir, what does it say?
This clock is hotel property.
One more time.
This clock is hotel property.
This clock is hotel property. Sir, tell me, why do they need to keep this sign? And next to it, there was a nice, beautiful lamp. And it was written, this lamp is hotel property. Why do they need to write this there? Why? Ma'am, why? Tell me why. Why is that? Oh, people pack it up. You mean by mistake? Okay. Now let me ask you. They pack it up. The person who's staying there is paying $500 US one night. 25,000, 30,000 bucks one night. Is he poor?
No.
He could buy the hotel. But you know something? They carry the linens, the crockeries, cutleries, and they bring it home and very proudly show it to the kids. I collect souvenirs. This bloody guy should be in the jail. Are you with me? This is what we teach our kids. And by the way, this came out a global survey. Indians rank number 3 in the world on hotel item thieves in the world. You know something? It's embarrassing. And even when we laugh, there's a pain in that laughter. True? There's a pain in that laughter. I mean, this is embarrassing. It so happened once I mentioned this in my book, You Can Achieve More. Folks, we took some very clear decisions almost 48 years ago, and we have not deviated from there. We have not. If one call comes to our office and I cannot talk, my secretary will not lie. A creditor calls our office, we didn't send a check. For whatever reason, cash flow reason, or oversight reason, my office, nobody will lie and say, the check is in the mail, and they act surprised too, you never got it? How could they get it when you never sent it? Let me ask you, if I teach my secretary to lie for me, a day will come when they will lie to me too. Yes, are you with me? Who taught them? I did. And remember, every time they lie, or whenever we do something wrong, like lying, stealing, cheating, even if no one is watching, we fall down a little bit in our own eyes. Only the first one is difficult. And whenever we do something positive in life, even if no one is watching, we rise a little bit in our own magic of self-esteem. Sumit, 5,000% of goodness and bad things in the world are happening because of poor self-esteem or high self-esteem. This is the driver. Folks, we had a client from Muscat. They enrolled into our leadership program. They were to send us $79,000. By mistake, sir, just see, I have mentioned the name of the person, name of the company also, by the way. And their signatures are here. We've reproduced them. Sir, they were to send $79,000, but by mistake, they credited how much?
11 million.
11 billion bucks came into our account. By the way, only happened once in 40 years. 11 million bucks came into our account. We're a small company. So my accountant comes in, checks the balances 2-3 days later. So we saw the balance jumped up 11 million. So he comes into my office. He said, "You become rich?" Oh, I said, "Really?" He said, "Sir, by mistake, 11 million bucks came into our account from so-and-so. By mistake." I said, "Are you sure it's by mistake?" He said, "Yeah, it's by mistake." And he asked me, "What should we do with this money?" Sir, tell me, doesn't he know what is to be done with that money? Why is he asking? You know why? He's checking my integrity. Are you with me? Yes. He's checking my integrity. Nothing wrong. So I asked him, "Sir," I said, "I do travel. I may not be here. If this kind of thing happens when I'm not here, tell me, what would you do?" What am I doing? Checking his integrity. Any organization that is not doing this on an ongoing basis is messed up. So I said, first of all, call them up, because they don't know. They still don't know after a week. And then give written instructions to get the money reversed. So we call them, inform them. Now there was panic on the other side. It's a $1 billion company, but 11 million is still 11 million. Frantically, they started calling our office. So our manager said, "Look, buddy, why are you mad? You didn't even know. We told you. It takes 10 minutes for us to give written instructions and the money gets reversed, that's all." After the money got reversed, we asked him, "Why were you so panicked when we are the one who told you?" You know what the answer was? In this part of the world, the legal system doesn't work, nothing works. 2, we were concerned if we will get the money, when we will get the money, will we get the money at all, and when. And besides, the amount involved was a little on the higher side. So our office sent a note back to them that, look, all our programs are based on integrity, and we make it a point to practice in our office also. And integrity in our office doesn't change with the amount involved. Because if it changes with the amount involved, it only means we have no integrity, our price is different. Are you with me? And On the lighter side, we've said, we may be stupid, but not crooked. Back came the answer. Ma'am, could you read this out for me? Only one line. Is it possible? Only one line. It says here, we wish to acknowledge, this is from them.
Okay, we wish to acknowledge we have received back the excess amount mistakenly transferred by our bankers to your account, and thank you and the entire Shiv Khera team for the prompt action.
Okay. See there, according to them, the bankers made a mistake and sent 11 million in our account. How do you like that? But anyway, they said, we thank you for reversing the amount with us, and the name of the person and the company is given right here. First, I must confess one thing. When we talk of values and integrity, I must confess I am not 24 karat pure. I'm not. And I don't know of any human being who is. But would you agree with me? There's a big difference between 22 karat and 8 karat, yes, no. And second thing is, am I happy to remain 22 karat? No. You keep striving to reach 24. And this is a process. I'm sorry? I'll just come to that. Let me just finish. I've already gone way over my time. I promise you I will not leave till I talk to you, okay? Okay, I'm here. I'm here. Very much here. Okay, I just want to cover two things which is more concerned with the Indian audiences. Folks, the program that I did, 37, 39, I don't know how many run. But the title of that program was Turn Setbacks into Comebacks. How do you turn a setback into a comeback? And one of those things was learn to accept responsibility. Stop playing the blame game. Learn to accept responsibility. Stop playing the blame game. Ma'am, may I give this book to you? I think you are the principal, is that right? Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Give her a hand, please. One of the biggest damage done to India has been done by our media. Print media, electronic media. Anytime you turn the TV on, what do you see? There is a Guruji, Babaji, Swamiji Maharaj with saffron clothes, white clothes, with a tilak here, tilak there, and horoscope. What do you see? Is horoscope. And this guy is asking, कहाँ से बोल रहे हो, नाम बोलो, जगह बोलो, तिथि बोलो, time बोलो, कोई भी पता नहीं. Don't worry. अभी मैं निकाल लेता हूँ. He has a laptop. And he does tick, 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 tick. Then he says, दूसरा तीसरे के घर में बैठा है, तीसरा चौथे के घर में बैठा है, चौथा पांचवें घर में बैठा है, पांचवा छठे घर में बैठा है, तो प्रॉब्लम तो होगी. अरे भाई दूसरा तीसरे के घर में बैठेगा तो प्रॉब्लम तो होगी. Naturally. And then he says, हाँ, मंगलिक. तो इसको उतारे कैसे? अरे केले के पेड़ से शादी करा दो इसकी. अच्छा, केले से नहीं होता, पीपल के पेड़ से शादी करा दो इसकी. And then तेरे पे शनि चढ़ गया. And the guy is scared now. शनि को कैसे उतारे? तो एक काम करो, एक काला रुमाल लो, उसमें काली दाल डालो, फिर काला काजल लगाओ, फिर काले बाल वाला खोजो, 7 बारी खोपड़ी पे घुमाओ, फिर काला कुत्ता खोजो, फिर काला बर्तन खोजो. You know something? You are laughing, but people are doing it. Let me ask you a question. If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, why don't we send Shani to Pakistan and destroy all the terrorists? मरवा दो यार, उसको काम खत्म करो. If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, why don't we send Shani to Ladakh to fight the Chinese? सर आप तो पढ़े लिखे लगते हो यार. एक बात बताओ, शनि परमानेंटली इंडिया में क्यों रहता है? कभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया क्यों नहीं जाता यार? शनि never goes out of India. बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं. शनि never goes to New Zealand. What is the matter? And if you read life history of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, they never ever believed in all these things. In fact, they fought against it. Folks, go check out in Sikh families, they never tally horoscopes. My daughters, they got married in Sikh rites. They never tell you horoscope. There is no Manglik. There is no Shubh Muhurat in a Sikh wedding. Every wedding takes place on a Sunday. Yes, no. And if Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. Folks, and we people, yaad rakhiye, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. Are you with me? And people go to Guruji, Babaji, Guruji, Babaji, Guruji, Babaji, and they touch their feet. Guruji, kya kare, kya kare, kya kare? Ek Baba kehta, beta, preet karo, preet karo, preet karo, Baba. This one Baba is selling preet. Another Baba, kya kare Baba? Beta, honey karo, honey. वो honey बेच रहा है. एक Baba honey preet mix करके बेच रहा था. Interesting. And this guy ought to be in jail. Folks, why am I sharing this with you? Because life doesn't always go up like this. It's a roller coaster. And because of the horoscope, I'm looking for an article right here. In fact, it'll take a little time, but if you want to go check out, Google it. January issue of 2018, India Today. There is an article written out, Astrology and Superstition. Astrology and Superstition. And it says, because of superstition, natural childbirth in India in some parts has gone down by 80%. 80% natural childbirth. And they especially quoted here, Madras, Bangalore, Hyderabad, South India. If you Google it tonight, you will find in these cities, 80% of childbirth is done through Operation C-section. You know why? Some astrologist said, this is good time to pull out the kid. Are you with me? Have you not heard this before? That's right. What is going on? And you see, when things go wrong in life, it happens to all of us. A person who accepts responsibility, analyzes the situation, and he asks a question. If a similar situation came again, will I behave the same way? If the answer is yes, we haven't learned anything. They analyze, learn from it, and they don't repeat the same thing. But a person who is not willing to accept responsibility, when things go wrong, you know what they say? My stars are not favoring me. They never learn from it. And they repeat the same mistake, and then they say, I'm unlucky. सारे बारी में एयरपोर्ट जा रहा था, तो रास्ते में अचानक ड्राइवर ने जोर से ब्रेक लगाया. Car came to a screeching halt. So I asked the driver, I said, भैया क्या हो गया? कहता सर बिल्ली रास्ता काट गई. तो मैंने कहा अब क्या होगा? कहता सर गाड़ी रोक देता हूं. मैं कहा क्यों? कहता अब शगुन होता है साहब, कुछ नुकसान हो जाएगा. मैंने कहा फ्लाइट में सोए तो बहुत नुकसान हो जाएगा. कहता सर गाड़ी रोक देता हूं. तो मैं कहा कब तक? कहता जब तक कोई और दूसरी, मैं कहा उसका नुकसान हो जाएगा, बोले दैट्स हिज प्रॉब्लम। यू सी ही हैड द आंसर फॉर एवरीथिंग। देन आई आस्क्ड हिम दिस क्वेश्चन कि एक बात बताओ भैया, मान लीजिए आप 15 गज पहले होते, बिल्ली निकल चुकी होती और आपने बिल्ली को ना देखा होता और आप सीधा गाड़ी निकाल के ले जाते, इन दैट केस यू वुड हैव इन द फर्स्ट कार। फिर क्या होता? वीर जी ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ आंसर इतना सीगे, कहता सर बिल्ली की पावर कम हो जाती है सर। सर आप लोग हंस रहे हो, जानते हो पढ़े लिखे MBA PhD कुछ कर रहे हैं सर। दिस इज अ फैक्ट, इट वीकन्स पीपल, दिस इज सुपरस्टिशन। आप सरदारों के परिवार में देखो, देयर इज नो कास्ट। Every Sardar last name is a what? Singh. Every Sardar lady last name is a Kaur. There is no caste. And the Sikhi is based on 3 principles. Nam Jap, Vanchak, Kiratkar. Nam Jap, God is formless, Nirankari. 2, Vanchak is the concept of langar, sharing, 500 years ago. And Kiratkar, no work is small, dignity of labor. No work is small. Have you ever seen a Sikh beggar in this world? Never. They will clean your shoes, they'll clean your toilet, they'll clean the drains, but they won't. This is not ego. This is humility saying, no work is small, dignity of labor. I wish in India we had adopted a Sikh philosophy. Instead of our own constitution, this country would have been totally a different country. And folks, these young people, the young dragons, somebody said, well, in my book I've written here, our youth does not form 100% population of the country, but they do form 100% future of the country. Yes, no. That's right. And one young man said, reading habits have died. He's right. But in my book you can achieve more. I have given a study. Folks, did you know that 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world are first generation? Did you know that? 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world are first generation. Only 15% coming from inheritance. And a survey was conducted on them, and they wrote in that they were asked, what gave you so much financial success in such a short time? And the answer given was, we read books. How many books? 50 books a year. 50 books a year means 1 book a week. 1 book a week. Multi-millionaires, billionaires read 1 book a week. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? You know what they said? We have no time to waste. We don't read fiction because fiction will remain fiction. We only read self-help books. Why? Because they said 1 good idea is worth $1 million. 1 good idea. Tell me, folks, how many ideas do we need to succeed in life? Only 1. 1 good idea. So there is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning, learning and earning. Learn more, earn more. And you will find a person who is an avid reader will never, never borrow or lend books. Never. You know why? The many times people come and tell me, Mr. Khera, I got a great new book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, but don't lend it to me. Why? I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a good book, I underline and make notes on the side. Why? Because reading a good book once is not good enough. I learned one thing, that when I read the second time, I'm not going to read the entire book. I'm just going to read those notes at that time. And folks, I'll share with you, Arrow Electronics, it's a $26 billion company from US, they're my clients, and they celebrated during the peak of the pandemic They celebrated their bumper quarter, $2 billion in sales in 90 days. So I asked the managing director, I said, buddy, people are hurting and you are moving up. How's that? He said, Mr. Khera, you don't know probably, 10 years ago I attended your leadership program. And he said, you had a stall, you were selling your books and tapes at the back. And he said, I bought your shop. I said, what do you mean you bought my shop? He said, I bought everything. He said, we have 900 people working in our company. He said, when I took over as managing director, we had 2% market share. And today we have 20% market share. And he says, in the last 10 years, I have read your book 20 times. And he said, all 800 people in my company, they all have read your book 200 times. And it is ritual. They read your book every year. He said, you know why? Reading a book once is not good enough. There are books I have read 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And when people tell me I've read your book once, I said, you wasted your time and money. You have got nothing out of it. It is passing time. You got nothing out of it. You know something why I say that? Because these young kids, and as adults also, we need reminders. We need reminders. And that is why somebody said, well, repetition is the mother of learning. Are you with me? Repetition is the mother of learning. So reading a good book once is not good enough. The books I have read 8, 9, 10 times. Some people say, oh, I said, boy, I'm not a good academic guy. I learn slow. I walk slow, but I don't walk backwards.